Welcome to Realtor's Roulette. Join Nicole, Alicia, and John as they uncover untold stories, insider tips, and hidden truths about real estate. Get ready to enjoy this episode coming to you from the beautiful Coppell Valley in Saskatchewan. Nicole, why is it crucial for homeowners and potential buyers to have a well-defined household budget?
Just so you know your monthly expenses. So I have a budget for a year in advance, all my income coming in, all my expenses going out, because otherwise, how do you know? How can you manage your money without a budget? I just worked on mine this morning.
What makes you do a year at a time? What was the incentive there?
Just because both me and my husband are self-employed, so I kind of know what his income is more so coming in than mine, so I can see the low spots and the high spots, and yeah, where I basically am like, okay, we may be short this month, so I need to figure out where funds are going to come from for this month. And yeah, I put in a certain amount for our MasterCard because I pretty much pay everything on our MasterCard, our mortgage payment, and then a couple miscellaneous things. And then I have like a budget for trips every year. I have a budget for home renovations every year. And then I have a budget now for my daughter's school.
I think that's like something really important to note is that, because I think the trend is always to have a monthly budget, and not a lot of people think of that yearly option, and to account for those, some months have bigger expenses, some have less, but if you're only looking month to month and like short term, you're not seeing that long term where it can balance itself out, and you can compensate for those quieter months, can pay for the busier months.
And I think people don't really understand where their money is going every month. Like I could tell you to a penny where all my money is going every single month.
That's awesome. Yeah. And John and Alicia, do you guys do it on an annual basis or month to month, or what does your budget look like? Start with John.
We kind of roll month by month. Typically our yearly stuff. One thing we do budget for is unexpected. The fun of vehicle breakdown or an unknown sports expense or whatever. So we have just a sort of a rainy day fund set up that you would put for unforeseen stuff.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I know that we have savings for such things as a water heater letting loose or some kind of a unforeseen disaster. We do renovate our house. We have kind of an annual budget for maintenance and renovations of our properties, and I do think that's really important to have that rainy day fund set up for your budget. We're more of a fly by the seat of our pants kind of family as far as like I do set a monthly budget, but we don't necessarily have the foresight as such as Nikki to look a year in advance.
And you are actually one of the questions you were talking about earlier when you were saying in terms of budgetary for rental versus ownership, an ownership on a house is maintenance. You're going to have a maintenance, be it shingles or a water heater like Alicia said, or flooring, or versus a rental. You pay a flat fee every month and somebody else looks after that. So it is good to get some perspective on a 3 or 5 year, what is that house going to consume for siding expense or whatever, and then you can budget that going forward. So if you're going to your roof every 15 years, what's that going to be? So it's definitely something that you have to budget for on a yearly or 5-year even basis, I guess.
So do you buy things when you don't have the cash in hand? And if you do or don't, what motivates you to make that decision the way you do? And you can give me the in certain situations I do this, and in certain situations I do that, but I'm curious, are you a cash in hand person, or do you make exceptions to that rule?
I don't. I have so much a month that I allocate for my MasterCard, and you can ask Alicia this, and if I don't have the money, I won't buy it. So I know, so maybe it'll be 3/4 of the way through the month and I'll be like, oh, we haven't spent that much, so I have this. So maybe I'm going to go buy some winter gear because we've underspent this month, but I don't. That's the amount that I spend every month and allocate every month. And if I'm going to go over that, then I won't buy it that month. I'll wait till the next month and see if I'm under my balance.
Nice. And what motivates that? Where does that come from for you?
I just don't want to overspend. I would say that even our income, somewhat, I kind of know what I'm making every year, right? So I just don't want to go into debt.
Right on. Yeah. John?
we're basically, if you need it, we're going to buy it.
Okay.
So we don't, we aren't compulsive buyers.
Okay.
So because if you have a pair of boots, those are going to work, but we don't impulse buy a better pair of boots. So if you have a winter jacket and it's working fine and it fits, solid. But if you need a jacket, absolutely, we're buying a jacket. Or and for, I think one of our biggest expenses is probably, you know, sports equipment for skates or bats or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, if you need it, we're going to buy it. But we don't have 4 winter jackets or 6 bats or stuff like that.
What's your like running definition of need?
Well, if your jacket's obviously too small, if your runners are, you know, whatever, that's need. Right?
And what would be not a need?
3 pairs of runners.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of thing. So yeah.
Extras.
Yeah.
Leisha?
Well, if I'm actually speaking honestly, I will buy it and find the money later, because I believe that it'll come. I don't really necessarily set a discretionary budget for obviously, you know, shingles or water heaters, those kind of things in my household. You need them. But I'm also one to buy 2 pairs or 3 pairs of runners, because I'll find the money to pay for it, because you only live once.
You're a manifesting girl. I like it. All right. What are key components or categories that should be included in a household budget specifically for homeowners? So what are things people are probably not thinking of that you guys see all the time? John, let's start with you.
I would say just updates, like, you know, everything.
Okay.
My background is retail hardware, and you know, the motto was everything breaks. Everything breaks. I don't care if it's a sink or a tap or, you know, flooring, where so everything breaks. Just keep that in mind, and work it back from there.
Do you guys have like a set amount that you put away every month for those kind of expenses?
Yeah. So like, well,
for an average homeowner, what would you recommend?
It depends if you're talking like plumbing expenses or roof expenses, or, you know, I think that you could easily put away for an average size bungalow $200 a month, and say that's going to get consumed. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe you might have a running budget, but then you might have countertops might need replaced, or you decide to put, you know, new tap sets in or whatever. So I would say, you know, $2,500 a year isn't out of scope to have that.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I always tell clients, like, we've always lived in new houses but one. So I just started a budget 2 years ago, because we've been in our house almost 12 years. So for 10 years I didn't, because I was like, not going to need anything, right? Everything's brand new. But now we're starting to replace stuff. So that's what I like to tell lots of people: when you're buying a new home, you may be paying more, but you're also going to probably not have any expenses for the first 10 years, right?
Right.
Because everything is new. So that's kind of one nice thing about it.
For sure.
I remember when we moved, about 13 years ago, we moved into this house, and it was a bit of an upgrade from our first bungalow that we bought. And I was shocked at the difference in costs for maintenance and for insurance. Like, everything that I bought was 2 times as much. When I wanted to do my shingles, instead of $5,000, it was $10,000. When I wanted to insure my home, it was double what my last home was. So I find, like, that was a sticker shock for me when I upgraded my home to a larger home. The difference in maintenance and actual expenditures each month that I didn't really think of outside the mortgage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a fine line between exactly having the new home with no maintenance costs, but it comes with a bigger, you know, insurance, and like greater roof size means more shingles that got to go on if you got to replace it. But cool. Do you guys use any kind of apps, or what kind of system do you have in order to keep track of your budgets? What works for you? I'll start with Nicole.
I just made myself an Excel spreadsheet, which I also shared with Alicia, and I just, like I said, every time a month goes by, I add a new month, so I'm always running a year budget, and I just made it myself. But
nice. And you like it? Nothing? Yeah, perfect. John?
Same, we're just paper-based.
Yeah.
I just look at my bank statement mostly, and I've ignored the spreadsheet that Nicole provided to me in order to coach me onto better financial health.
When I tried to teach Alicia's daughter about net worth, when she said, "What's net worth, Nikki? Let's sit down. Let's see what your net worth is."
I think that's the beautiful thing about this table is that you guys all are been very successful, and you all have very different approaches to how you address different things in life. So I think that's great. Okay, let's move into like renovations. So if someone's anticipating renovations down the road, how do you recommend saving for that? Where do you see the greatest return on investment for the renovations? Like, assuming we're talking to someone where the budget is tight and they're not sure how they're ever going to be able to make these improvements, where can they start?
Well, like our one client said, what did she say when we went and looked at her house? Dirty money or ugly money? She put all the ugly money in, all the shingles, the furnace, the windows, maybe not the cosmetic stuff, but that's always going to be, I think, your best rate of return, right? Are those big ticket items that you don't have to do. Like most people can paint if they want to paint. Mm-hmm. Most people can maybe do some flooring if they want to. So I think all of those, bigger ticket items that you are hiring out somebody to do. And that's going to be the longevity of your structure.
I like the dirty money. I just did a renovation and I keep telling people it's the most unsexy renovation ever. Like it has no sex appeal. We did insulation. Woo! It looks so good under the wall. I look at it every day in admiration. But John, do you have any recommendations?
I just say, and my, I guess my take on renovations, if you're into it, do the whole thing. Don't piecemeal it out. A lot of times we go into houses and you can see they did, this was done 5 years ago, this was done 3 years ago. So you'll have a house with, because they can't find the same flooring again. And I've done this as well in the houses we've lived in. Started a renovation on the main floor, went back 7 or 8 years and did the basement. But the thing of it is that when you open something up, open it up and finish it up. It's going to cost you more up front. But again, nothing in the years that I've been in business has ever been cheaper the year after. So you might think it's costly now. It's going to cost more in 10 years. I guarantee it.
So do we have you on record saying costs are not going down?
They aren't going down. I can guarantee that whatever today is, you will not get any cheaper going forward.
It's actually pretty crazy because I waited to put AC in my house, and when initially it was $3,500 and I paid $6,000 for AC, and then I thought my hot water tank went the other day, and I thought, it's gonna be like $1,000. Jason's like, it's $2,500 for a hot water tank now.
So the cost of that. So if you're opening up a project or 1 room or 3 rooms, make it into a project, especially if you're bringing in trades into your house, electricians or plumbers. Get it done, knock it out, and then you're good for the next 10 or 12 or 15 years. I think that's my only word of advice for renovations.
Yeah, we just did that. We opened up the walls, and then the guy doing our renovations was like, hey, like you should get electrical in here, get the plugs where you want them, put the light switches, and then while it's open, like doing this after the fact, you're going to have to re-drywall, do all these things.
Perfect. I don't know who your contractor was, but I'm with him. I'm with him all the way.
No, it sucks, and it's like, woo, we have insulation and plugs again, but worthwhile long term.
For me, I think that it's important to finish what you start, like John said. Like, don't leave it halfway done. Complete the project. And the other thing is just putting those little finishing touches. Like, I always recommend to clients, fix that tap set, recaulk around your bathtub. If your walls need it, throw a coat of paint on. Like, don't leave your house looking poorly maintained when maybe you do have great insulation under those walls, but they're banged up from your kids. Mm-hmm. Just throw the paint on. Just get it done. Put that baseboard back up. The casing's on. Like, you just finish up those little loose ends to make your house feel like it was well maintained.
Mm-hmm. I like it. So what advice would you guys give first-time homeowners in terms of creating and managing their household budgets? So they just bought a house, they've never owned one before. Any tips or tricks?
Just don't forget about those little things. Like, it's more than just the mortgage. Make sure you, like John said, put $200 away for home maintenance when you need shingles in 5 years. Just get that little account started. Make sure you remember about insurance and that maybe you're going to need a fence, these little things like that. Make sure that you have the foresight that it's more than just the mortgage that you're going to pay. It's it's all on you, Ace. There's no landlord to shoulder tap when the water heater goes.
Exactly. I think too, like for a lot of first time homeowners, it's just like exhale, like I got the house, but there's like so much more to it. Like you might need a lawnmower, you might need like all sorts of things to maintain this yard you've never had before, or think about snow removal. When we moved to our place, we have this like long driveway and we had shovels and we're like, crap, like we gotta get a snow blower. Like this is not feasible. We're not getting out with our little car. And I think like it's just it can be such a journey to get that house that you think you're done, but it's just starting.
Well, and I think too, like if you can afford a mortgage payment for a $250,000 house, buy a $200,000 house, and what the difference is that you can afford, put that away as your savings. Because if you max yourself out to the exact dollar amount you can afford, then like you're not going to have any extra money. We do see that with clients, like they literally maybe only have a couple extra $100 every month, so if something does go, maybe they're not in a position to fix it or maintain it.
It's been tough in the last couple of years with the market the way it was. There was anxiety. Am I going to get a house? Can I upgrade my house? And so when you're in a multiple offering situation, when the market's hot, sometimes you are overpaying, for something just to get that. And sometimes you just got to take a step back and breathe for a second and say, is that really what we need?
Not get caught up in
Not
the
get caught up in the
excitement
hype
of
of it,
it,
right.
and like, oh, we didn't know, and yeah,
Right.
for sure. Right on. Any common mistakes or oversights you guys see? I know we've talked a lot about the budgets and mistakes and tips and tricks, but anything else that you guys have seen with your clients, mistakes made that other people can learn from their lessons?
I think right now when the market is slower, a lot of buyers should be buying right now because there's less competition. So even if they're paying at a higher interest rate, in a year or two, if interest rates are down, they've achieved that product at a lower value versus waiting till everybody wants that and then it's a rat race, right? So I think lots of people are scared to buy right now, but I think lots of people should be buying right now because they're going to be paying less, and when interest rates go down, it's going to be the same equation. They're just not fighting multiple offers. So I think the market is quiet right now, and it's the perfect opportunity if you've been looking. Don't wait.
All right, well, that wraps up our conversation on budgets for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you for tuning in to Authentic Realty's podcast. Follow, review, and share this episode to spread the knowledge. To connect with your favorite local realtors, call 306-695-HOME.